Ever struggled with repeating items, lists, tags, form submissions? This video will finally make arrays simple. Make.com uses arrays for list items. To process them, you need iterators and aggregators. Let's break this down. In this video, we are going to be looking at arrays, aggregators, and iterators. Arrays unlock bulk power. Arrays can be daunting for beginners, especially when dealing with lists, tags, or form submissions. Without understanding arrays, automation can become inefficient and error-prone. Array is simply a list of items. Understanding how to deal with this list is very, very crucial. What are the benefits of array? Mastering arrays in Make.com simplifies handling bulk data, enabling you to process multiple items efficiently and streamline your workflows. Now, what are actually arrays? An array is a list of items stored in a specific order, like item 1, item 2, item 3. So this is how an array looks like. So each of the items can be accessed individually. It is a fundamental data structure used to handle multiple entries. Module output. Modules in Make.com often returns arrays when fetching multiple rows, emails, or records. Recognizing this helps you decide when to use iterators or aggregators. Now, when you're trying to fetch data from, let's say, an Airtable base or a Google Sheet, usually it's either you are getting a single entry or you want to get multiple entries. You trying to get multiple entry means that the module is going to return an array for you. This array can then be used in other module by mapping each of the item of that array to a specific module or using all the array output in another module, as the case may be. Mistakes to avoid. Understanding array prevents common errors like mapping an entire list into a single field, ensuring your automation runs smoothly. So once you understand that this is an array, you know how to use an array effectively. For example, when you are trying to map data from one module to another, a field might require just a text content, but mistakenly adding an array to that content is going to break your workflow. Now let's look at how to actually get an array from a module. Here we are in Make.com editor. So to enable us try to fetch data from, let's say, Airtable, I already prepared an Airtable base, which is tagged data management. In this Airtable base, we have a table which is titled leads. So this leads includes name and email. So we have this name John with the email john@gmail.com. We have sarah@gmail.com, david@gmail.com, and so on. Now, what we want to do is we want to try to fetch all of this information at once. Now, in Make.com, we can do this by using an Airtable module. When I click on this, I can select any of the module I want to work with. But here we want to try to use the Airtable module. Now, in this Airtable module, there are different actions we can perform. So what we want to do here is we want to search for records. So searches for specific records or returns all records. So we want to return a certain number of records. So I'll just click on search records. Now what we need to do here is to connect our Make.com to our Airtable base. So if you have followed me this far, you would have known how to connect your Airtable base to Make.com. Now I already have my connection. All I just need to do is select the base I want to work with. The base we are working with is the data management base. Now under this base, there is just one table, which is leads. So I'm going to select the table here. Now we need to fill every other part to complete our setup. The output, we want to get the name and the emails. Now we don't have a formula we need to use. We just want it to give us every information in that table. So limits. Depending on the number of entries you have in the table, you can set the limit to, let's say if you have 20 entries in the table, you can decide to get just 2 or get 10 or get all the whole 20. So in this case now, you can set the limit to 10 depending on what you want. So I'm just going to set my limit to 5. So although I have just 5 entries in that table, which doesn't matter. So once that is done, I save this. So now, the next thing is to try and run this module and see what it gives us. Run this module only. Now this is a success. Here is the input. We have the bundle for the input. This is the setup we added. Now this is the output. The output is returning different bundles. Now what we want to explain here is this. Each of the entries in the table are presented separately as a bundle. So we have one bundle, second bundle, third bundle, fourth bundle, and the fifth bundle. These bundles appeared as a collection. A collection is an object. So the combination of all these bundles is the output, which is now an array of bundles. So this is the array here. So normally, let's say we are trying to use a different approach, like getting a list from a form submission. For example, you are getting a list from a form submission. This list is going to come in as an array. But here, this Airtable module is automatically separating this array into different bundles. So it's more like saying the Airtable module is automatically using an iterator. An iterator is helping us to convert a single array into multiple outputs. So this is the sample of what is happening here. So that is how you get data in this format. Under the hood, the Airtable module is serving as an iterator. That is, instead of returning all the names and email as a list, or let's say as an array, it is breaking it down into multiple bundles. So it means that the module itself is also trying to serve as an iterator by helping us to break an array down to multiple bundles. This doesn't work in every situation. Some modules will return an array for you, which you can then use an iterator to break it down into different components. All right. So now, let's look at aggregator. Aggregator combines back. It means once you have an array that has been splitted into multiple items, you can now convert this item back into a single array. Let's see how this works. What is the purpose of an aggregator? An aggregator merges multiple bundles into a single array, text or JSON payload, reducing noise and API calls. So with the help of an aggregator, each of the bundles that were provided by the Airtable base, we can convert them into a single bundle. I'll show you how to do that shortly. A use case of an aggregator include merging multiple emails into one notification, building a single JSON output, or creating a daily summary. So you can use aggregator in multiple situations. Using aggregator keeps your workflows efficient and ensures stakeholders receive concise, consolidated information. So this way, you are ensuring that you are providing the accurate data and accurate information at a point in time. Now let's dive into make.com to see how we can use aggregator. Currently, this module is returning separate bundles for each of the name and email fields we have in the table. Now, how can we convert all these into just a single bundle, an array? We can do that by using an aggregator. First, we'll come here and click on the plus button. So once you click on the plus button, you need to add an aggregator. To do that, just enter this flow control. So flow control gives you access to an aggregator. So we can use that by clicking on this array aggregator. Now, an array aggregator allows you to combine multiple bundles to a single one, like what we had in the Airtable module. So I just select all the fields, then click on save. So you can decide to omit some parts, but let's just select everything, then we click on save. Now, here is a warning. A transformer should not be the last module in the route. So it means that we need to add a new module to remove this error. So because of this warning, we cannot run this scenario yet until we include a new module. Now, before we do that, let's explain what iterator is so we can now add an iterator and finalize it with a new module. Iterator loops one by one. An iterator processes each item in an array individually, allowing you to apply filters, transformers, or actions to every element without manual intervention. Now, if you use aggregator to combine all the bundles in the Airtable module to a single bundle, we can then use iterator again to split this bundle back to separate bundles. There are a lot of use cases you will come across that you need to split an array into multiple items or combine multiple items into a single array. So as the case may be, you would know either to use an aggregator or to use an iterator. Different scenarios requires different methods. So whatever situation you find yourself in, you should think thoroughly on which of the approach to use. Now, pairing iterators and aggregators allows you to process arrays efficiently, splitting them into individual items and then combining them back as needed. So let's head back to make.com to add an iterator to the scenario. Now let's add an iterator. Click on the plus sign, click on flow control. Here is iterator. Now we want to map in an array. So we are going to pick an array, which is what is expected from the aggregator. Remember, we had multiple bundles here, which is to be converted into a single bundle using the aggregator. Now the single bundle we are getting is going to be an array. Now this array, we want to split it back to multiple bundle. So we just drag this array into this field. Then we can click on save. Also, an iterator cannot be the last module, so we need to add a final module. So to do that, I'll just add a random module, which is going to be Google Sheet, and we are going to just perform a random action. So one of the random action I want us to perform is to create a sheet. Add a sheet. So you need your connection. After setting up your connection, you click on the spreadsheet you want to use. I'm going to be using this spreadsheet. Now, what's the title of the sheet I want to create? I'll just name it new sheet. So with that, I think we are good. So I just save that. Now we can run this scenario and see what happens when this aggregator runs and when this iterator runs. So let's run the scenario once. Airtable is going to fetch all the data. Then aggregator will combine. Okay, there was an error. A sheet name new sheet already exists. So that is not a problem. So now, this is a kind of error you can face when building your scenario. So we can see that this error log already explained what happened. So invalid request, add sheet. A sheet with the name new sheet already exists. So we can just resolve it by changing the name of the sheet. However, that's not our concern for now. We don't actually need the sheet to be created. So we can just omit this error for now and focus on the actual part. Now, the actual part, this is the output. Bundle 1, bundle 2, bundle 3, bundle 4, bundle 5. What do you want to do? We want to use aggregator to combine all this into a single bundle. So let's see if that actually happened from aggregator. Now we can see the input is bundle 1, bundle 2, bundle 3, bundle 4, bundle 5, which is now giving us a single bundle. And this bundle contains an array of items. Now we can see the first item is having the name John and email john@gmail.com. Also, the second item is having the name and the email. So all this gave us exactly what we're shooting for. Now, the next thing is to now convert this array back into multiple bundles. Let's see if iterator actually achieved that. Now, iterator here, we look at the output. We can see this is the input, a single array, which is now giving us the multiple bundle as needed. So that's exactly what we wanted to achieve. So this kind of use case can happen at different points in time. So depending on what you want to do, either you are using an aggregator or you want to use an iterator, as the case may be. So this enable you to perform different actions at any point in time. Beginners trap to dodge. There are some common mistakes you need to avoid. Beginners often forget to use iterators, map arrays into text field, or assume modules process list automatically. So you need to be very, very careful. Two, incorrect grouping. Incorrect grouping in aggregators can lead to errors and inefficient workflows. For example, for aggregators now, you need to provide a list of bundles. So if you just provide just one bundle, it's just going to convert that one bundle into an array. So you need to be very, very careful. Also for iterators, you need to provide an array which is to be converted to multiple items. So if you provide just a single item which is not an array, you are going to get an error. Best practices: check bundle previews, add filters for blanks, and wire iterators and aggregators correctly to avoid pitfalls. So knowing when to use what at what point matters. So you should know when you should use aggregators and when you should use iterators, so you don't confuse yourself. You should not use aggregators when you're supposed to use iterators, or use iterators when you're supposed to use aggregators. I hope you understand that clearly. Well done. We have come to the end of the video. In the next video, you will learn webhooks, one of the most powerful tools for real-time automation. Okay, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.